I'm a therapist, so I'm like in between a hygienist and a dentist. So technically not doctor. I guess you could just say Robbi.
Sure. Okay. Okay. Well, anyway. So
An interesting degree. They don't even have it here in the US, but it has like full scope of like, restorations, deciduous extractions. I don't do adult extractions. It's a very interesting degree.
yeah, I didn't. That is so. That's in the middle between hygienist and dentist, but you do certain. Okay.
So I can do any restoration a dentist can do. I can do that on adults or children, but only extractions on children. I don't do crowns on adults. We can obviously do stainless steel crowns on children.
You do local anesthesia.
We obviously anything like that. And then other than that, like we can do our own treatment planning. We can do like we don't need a dentist present. Like it's just a very unique degree.
From Australia too. Wait, so okay, because we just did one recording and now we're doing a second. So Rob, let's just rewind real quick. Your father's actually American, your mother's Australian. Let's start from there and then go to Australia, dental school, dental therapy, and then back.
Yeah, sir.
So let me hear your story. Yeah, from the beginning.
All right. Well, hi guys. Thank you very much for having me today. I'm definitely excited to be here. So I grew up in Australia my whole life. My dad was a dentist, so I started being a dental assistant with him when I was like 11. So he would get emergencies on the weekend and I would go down with him, and I just kind of fell in love with the space. So like from this time I was literally 11, I was like peering over and he was doing surgeries, and I loved it. Like I loved like the I guess like the bloody part of it, but then I also loved like the beautiful part of just like seeing people smile, right? And my dad wasn't really a typical clinician. He just like had this incredible like charisma where patients would just keep coming back and back and back. And his name was Spike, if that's any indication of how different of a dentist he was. And I saw like the way that people just gravitated towards him and like the real difference that that he could make, and they weren't dental phobic anymore. And I just was like, this is really interesting. So I originally started off I wanted to be an occupational therapist. I had broken my neck in a car crash and I had done a lot of therapy in like rehabilitation. I broke C5 and C6 and it was just brutal doing this rehab. And I was like, wow, this occupational therapist is like changing my life. Like I want to do that. I did a year and a half and I was like, this is not for me. So I ended up going to school. So my degree in Australia is called oral health therapy. So again, like I was explaining, it's kind of in between a hygienist and a dentist. And whenever I graduated, I went to work with my dad and he was my mentor, and I did just cosmetic dentistry with him. And then I did some peds as well. And I fell in love with it. And he had this practice for at this point like nearly 20 years, and he kind of gave me free reign to do the marketing. So at this point I was like, okay, like this is kind of fun. And I basically started posting about the practice, very much kind of what you do. Like there was no intense strategy. It was just like sharing the love, right? It was just like showing up and showing, who was the team, and like really bringing people in and showing before and afters. And basically it started to build huge traction. We scaled the practice just from doing that to 7 figures really quickly. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. And at the point, I had about 150,000 followers on my Instagram. People were getting more interested in me than they were in the dental work that I was doing. And I was so proud of doing like this like beautiful cosmetic work, and I'm showing it off and they're like, okay, but like, where is this outfit from? So I like kind of like started doing that on the side, and then just fell into it full time. I just realized there was so much opportunity. I loved it. And I realized like, wow, like there is a real need for marketing in dentistry. And so for the last 5 years, I'm in full-time on social media. I have 3 different businesses that have launched as a result of being on social media. And more my heart has got pulled back to dentistry and this industry. And I'm really passionate about kind of like bringing some light to the area of marketing in this industry, because I mean, that is just something like, as you know, they don't teach business and they don't teach marketing in dental school. And all these people are graduating with a skill set. But we're in a time right now in history where it's like marketing is king, content is king. And if you don't know how to market yourself, like unfortunately, you're already starting back. And it is crazy to me. And this is like something that fuels me, is just like, how can I, as a creator, be making 5-10 times more than I would as a clinician who studied all of these years, like went through like so much education, so much extensive training, and then I'm making 10 times more in a year than I would as a 6-figure clinician. Like it doesn't make sense. So part of that is like helping clinicians understand their value, figuring out like how they want to position themselves in the market. And again, going back to like, what is their long-term vision and their goal? And how do we help them accomplish that? So that is where my company Bright Smile Digital was born, and that's been really my big passion project.
That's amazing. Oh my God. From that, I think I hit 12 different questions I need to ask you just from that alone. This, you said 3 companies. Is this number 3 or this was one of 3? Where did this one kind of fit into the other companies that you've been managing and working with?
Yeah. So basically I have my digital marketing. So everything, all things social media. So a lot of people don't know that can be a full-time job, right? So that has been my full-time job for 5 years. So that's everything. That's from Snapchat to YouTube to like digital partnerships to like working with brands to being a brand ambassador. That's one. And then I have Lumia label, which is my sunglasses label. So again, like I'm very much about like solving a problem. Obviously, I know in this day and age we're all staring at a screen all day. So I created a blue light. It's a blue light glasses, and then it has little magnets and you can interchange between different lenses. So that's been incredible to work with. That was my first like digital products company. And then now we have Lumia label. So this was started we have Bright Smile Digital. Now this was started last year, and now we've already scaled. I think we've got about 7 people on our team now. We have incredible dental practices and practitioners all over the nation, and we've been working with them to just like solidify and to amplify their personal brand online.
Amazing. So that has to come into the marketing. And just on the previous recording with Bright Smile, so we were talking about how finances are tough these days and everyone knows it. We need to rely on the marketing. We have social media at our fingertips these days, right here. How did you kind of get started with your social media? It grew up so big. You mentioned Snapchat too. That's one that I haven't actually explored as much. Where did you get started? How did you get, and a lot of it was YouTube, right? And then 2, what's your favorite nowadays?
What's my favorite what, sorry?
What's your favorite like today? Like presently, what's your favorite go-to social media platform and content creation side?
Yeah, okay. Well, I kind of got into it just by sharing like little tidbits of my life. Again, it was like really organic at the time. It was like a workout or travel with my girlfriends. And at the point, like I had my dream job. I was making 6 figures. Like, my dad was my mentor. This was like really the dream. And I would get, some little emails like, oh, we'll pay you $100 to post our spray tan, right? I didn't know you could make a real living out of it. So for me, it was just purely fun. And I think most of the time, like in any industry, like we get into it because it's like, we actually enjoy an element of it, right? Like, and I think like for me, it's like getting back to the love of social media. Like I think with dentistry, it's like you got into it because you love something about it. Like you love like the interaction with the patients or the artistry or like whatever it is. And I think, for me, it's like I still love social media, but now it's like as we grow and change and evolve, like so too has the way that I've, I guess, positioned myself, right? So for a long time, it was like in fashion and travel. And then for the last 5 years, it's been in fashion. And now I'm like, okay, like I need something that is like more fulfilling, which is where it's like kind of pulling me and my expertise back to dentistry. But as far as my favorite platform, I love YouTube just because I love for me, sometimes it's hard to, I guess, translate my personality to short form videos. Long form, you can share more and you can be more real and more vulnerable. And I think like at the end of the day, it's like people go in social media because they want human connection.
That's such a good point, and you could get so much more organic in that long-form content. You get to really meet someone. That's why I love podcasts, and I can't thank you enough for coming to spend a little extra time with me today to go through that. I get to meet you, and then listeners can get to meet you, your listeners and both. But yeah, the short-form content, 7-second clips, they could be taken really badly, or they could be taken like, I want to hear more of it. It's just not enough. I think long-form content is the best form of content now. Raw, uncut. I mean, cutting out ums and ahs is fine, but I really agree with you on that. Yeah, YouTube. Have you doing any like separate podcasting, just audio format, or no?
Well, I have actually a show that's launching next week, and it's totally new. It's going to be with the networks. It's going to be called Robbi on the Record, and it's going to be twice a week, where I'm coming out with totally just like original content about like current day issues. It's more like cultural pop, like just like very interesting. It's very different than anything I post. And I think like really that's my messaging with social media. It's like we put ourselves in these boxes, like especially like as practitioners, be like, well, I can only post like my before and afters, right? Like for me, it's like I was like in fashion. I was like, well, if I only post this, like my audience isn't gonna follow me, or that they're not gonna resonate, or I'm gonna lose followers. Yes, and maybe. But for me, it's like my encouragement to people is like, you can try something new. And like at the end of the day, you're giving them the privilege to like follow along with your life. And if you have what's called, I call it like the slingshot effect, where if you want to try something new, like maybe some people will drop off, right? Like you might have this like little decrease, but if you're passionate about it and you keep showing up and actually enjoy what you do, not just because you have to do it, like it's like that slingshot effect. Like you will find the people that align with you. People, you know, people find like authenticity, like you can feel it through the screen. So I think like that's my encouragement to people is like, don't box yourself into only doing one thing. And that's what I did for a long time. So now I'm like launching this other show that is different than anything I've done, but I'm just like, I'm going for it.
And you said like more pop and culture. Tell me more about this, because you're in Miami now, maybe a little bit of, do you know Spanish yet in Miami?
No, it's
Oh, is that the little doll thing?
like the little doll is like trending, right? So for me, it's like, it's really interesting because I'm going back and I'm like, all right, now this doll was predicted on The Simpsons 20 years ago in 2005, and basically they called it the Pazuzu. Now, basically this is a little doll that they're saying is based on an ancient Mesopotamian demon. And basically when in The Simpsons, when they brought it onto the show, like the little daughter was like being possessed and all these things. And now in real life, 20 years later, we have this thing called the Labubu, and people are saying basically that they're experiencing very similar things. They're experiencing like physical scratches on their body. They're experiencing like the dolls moving around the house, the dolls' eyes changing color. Now this is like it's trending on TikTok. This is like, it's real stuff. People, there's like hashtag burning Labubu, just like interesting things. Basically going on there, like going on this show, like talking about the evidence, and just like kind of landing into these things. And I'm like, sometimes things are deeper than we think, and it's just opening these really interesting conversations.
I'm gonna have to check out this when is this episode released? I'm intrigued.
It's gonna be coming out in about 2 weeks.
2 weeks? God, so long. Did you record it already?
Yeah, we've already recorded it.
Oh, okay, yeah, post-production, yeah.
It's just post-production. It's a new show, so making sure that everything is kind of perfect. But after that, it's gonna be really fast little turnaround.
Yeah. Oh, this is going to be exciting. I want to hear your take on it. This sounds a little creepy, changing eye colors.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's my thing. It's like, that's just one episode. Like, it could be from anything to predictive programming to like something that's going on current day. Basically, it's just like talking about like real life things. Like, this isn't a conspiracy theory show. Like, this is like what's actually happening. So we go on the record and we talk about the story. Something that's just like a little bit more interesting than maybe you'd see on the news. And then I go off the record and it's kind of my opinion. So my opinion with that is, I think sometimes it is deeper than we think. Like, we know that there is, I mean, you can't see the spiritual world, but like you can feel it. Like you can feel someone's vibe. You can feel when something's not right. So I think like we need to not play with that stuff. And I think a lot of people are waking up, and when it's been so wildly accepted by celebrities and by people around the world, like there's something to it, you know? So it's just worth like just thinking about it like on a deeper level. All I want to do is just open these conversations.
I really want to I want to watch this podcast. I can't wait for it to release. I want to watch this podcast because I did see one clip about the Labubu, and they related it to the Simpsons show like 20 years ago when it posted, and I was like, what is this? And then they showed like kind of the evil side of these dolls. Yeah. That's all I remember from it, and it was just, so I want to hear your take on it. Yeah, on the episode, I don't want any more sneak peeks released. We don't have to worry about that. But so you said you've been in Miami for 6 years now. You just got married in 8. I'm sorry, 2 years?
Yep.
Wait, let's just go through this again. You were in LA for.
So I've been in America for coming up on 6 years now. And when I moved here, my degree didn't translate. So it was never like, I never planned on being here a long time. It just kind of happens. So I was 3 years in LA, and then I was a year and a half in New York, and then I've been nearly 2 years in Miami now.
Oh, I see. So 6 altogether, 3 in LA, year and a half. What'd you think of New York?
I loved it. I was on the Lower East Side.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I do miss elements. Like I miss obviously like there's like an energy in New York that is just like, there's like something that's like unmatched anywhere else. And if you've been there, you can attest to what I'm saying. And I miss the fashion. I do miss the fashion. Like coming to Miami, it's a lot more like bikinis and like less fashion. But for me, I'm like, it's no competition. I love the beach and I love the warm weather. So I'm definitely closer to a Miami girl than a New Yorker. Yeah,
you're right. The energy in New York, the city never sleeps. It's true. It's true. Lower East Side's very nice. It looks like you left right before that new restaurant, Fly Fish Club, opened. Yeah. If you come back, we could plan a week or something. I want to get you there at some point.
Yeah,
gotta check that out. But yeah, so Miami, how are you liking that? You said 2 years?
Yeah, it's been nearly 2 years. It's been great. I think it feels like home for me. God's opened a lot of doors. Like I found an awesome community. I found an awesome church. My best friend lives here, Mel, who you know. And then I met my husband. Like, just so many little things that just like kind of fell into place. So it's been home for me.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Dr. Silvestrini, Dr. Melanie, Rosalia. And wait, so you met your now husband. Congrats, by the way. You guys got married in April. You met him here in Miami, or was it in
I met him here. Yeah, actually through church.
Through church? Cool. No way.
Yeah. So it's been an incredible journey. I think that's the opposite of what you hear about moving to Miami, that it's like a party city and that like everyone, you know, I hear like the dating here is horrible, and then I move here and I'm like, oh, the first guy that I'm like actually like going out with is from church and he's my husband. So like it, you know, God just works these things.
Congratulations. You said he's in law. How does that work? You coming from a dental background, marketing, social media, he's in law. Moved to Miami from Texas into law. Tell me more about that a little. How does that work? How has it been working? What's some of the things that you like? It's just a spark in the relationship.
I think the really cool thing is like the different ways that our brains work. Like I'm a creative, and I think a lot of people in dentistry, I think we tend to forget like we're creatives. Like we love the artistry, right? And I think like I've really leaned into that, even though I'm not seeing patients clinically. Like I still love like creativity. I'm like a visionary. I'm a huge dreamer, and I'm always the one who's like, I have an idea, and he's more like the analytical person. Like law like tends to be like a lot more structure like that. Like it's a different way of thinking, and he's more like the practical one. So like I think it's been like a really cool like combination of like, you know, me like having all this vision and creativity, whereas he's like, okay, like I'm the one like how do we actually practically do this, and just like championing each other, right? Like whatever I want to do, he's like you can do it, like let's make it happen, you know. And he just believes in me in that way, and I'm the same with him. I'm like, there's no one on this planet who's a bigger fan of him and like can see his heart and his ideas than me. So it's been a cool combination.
It's so outstanding. I mean, you really need to find that person that's just going to bring out the most in you, right? Every single day, pushing you, motivating you to go your direction, getting your little niche in industry. Yeah, I totally agree and love that. Just before we started to hit the record, we were talking about the weddings.
Yes.
Last night I had the meeting, planning with my fiance in a year and a half, and you were saying, I wanted to just touch on this because you were saying like taking a simple perspective of the wedding can sometimes take away a lot of the stress on your plate and just maximize the experience on it. If you could say exactly what you said before, I thought it was like the perfect thing about weddings. I don't know if you remember.
So really, like, I think taking back for 1 second and then I'll touch on that, but to social media, it's like, I think most people do something with social media in mind. And I think the most beautiful lives, like I know my life is so much more full and beautiful offline than it is online. And I know that's not the case with a lot of people, like at all. I was this week at a dinner with one of my girlfriends. She had 3 different weddings in different places, very elaborate. They spent incredible amounts of money. And I was like, so how do you feel now that it's done? And she's like, I feel like I can breathe. Like, that's all we talked about for a year and a half. Like, and she's like, yeah, they got all the coverage from like, you know, beautiful media outlets and all the things. But she's like, but on the day, it's like, it wasn't even about him and me. Like, it was just for the camera. And I think going into my wedding, it was very different than maybe I would have thought in the past. Like, I wanted this huge, beautiful ceremony, like very elaborate. Like I wanted fireworks in the background, like it was this huge thing. But actually what we ended up doing is we planned it in 4 months and we ended up getting married on the beach. And it was just like simple and beautiful. And it was just about him and me. Like all of the other stuff that like fades, you know, the little things we worry about that we talk about incessantly, like the color schemes, like all the little details in the seating chart that we get lost in, like we tend to like lose the focus on like what it's actually about. And at the end of the day, it's about these 2 people making a commitment before God and remembering it's like our life is way more beautiful offline than it is online. And I want to, you know, still get the best people to showcase that, the great photographers and the beautiful place. But at the end of the day, it's like, I don't want to lose like this next year only fixating on that. So like for us, like it was really important that we actually just like enjoy this part of it as well, like the planning part. And I think most couples get lost in that.
I know, right? That's what we were talking about before. I was saying, like, I feel like years ago, like 50, 100 years ago, whatever, it's like, hey, let's get married. And then 2 or 3 months later, you're married, you're on your honeymoon, you're back to work. And I felt like, this is what we were talking about prior to this recording, I feel like nowadays, I think the weddings have been commercialized so much. They're so expensive. It's the wedding venue. It's the engagement party. It's the engagement photos. It's the engagement photos part 2. like coming together, celebrating the relationship, celebrating the next step forward. Now you need to really celebrate the moment and make the most of it. The photos, the occasion, the family there, the friends there, everyone that you love and loves you, everything. But yeah, I really loved how you just described that, where it becomes so stressful, and it's like it's all you talk about for that year and a half of planning for that wedding, and then taking a simple perspective on it. I think like it just kind of allows the occasion and the moment itself to blossom a little bit more. So I thank you for putting that into those words. That was perfect.
And it's even down to the little things as well, right? Like, it's like, are you trying to be seen, or is it just like actually for you guys as well, right? Like, I think even down to the little things like the guest list. Like, you know, originally we're like, okay, like we're probably gonna have like 250 people, and then we're kind of going through this list, and we're like, if we wanted to invite more, we could have had 500 people wedding. But at the end of the day, it's like, who is actually like championing us? Like, who is like a part of our real lives? You know, like, you know, you don't need to blow out the budget, and then by the way, like the whole night you just like spend like talking to everybody. Like, it's not even about you guys. Like, you really want to just be really intentional. And I think, yeah, they say like simplicity is the ultimate elegance, but I think it's like, it's also like the ultimate stress reliever in a way. Like, it costs you less, and it gives like the attention back to each other. So I think there's like a beautiful balance to find. And I think like that for us, like we still had like, you know, my dream wedding, because like, and I'll never forget it, but was it, you know, in the Riviera, and was it like, you know, fireworks and like, you know, things like that? Like, no. But like, are we going to be able to travel and see those things? Of course. Like, you know, I'd rather put, you know, that extra $50,000 towards a beautiful trip and do that and actually enjoy it and, you know, be about us.
The key word you just said right there is intentional, and then relating it back to is it about having the social media in mind, all the posts and the photos and stuff? Yeah. Or is it about the moment? Is it about that special occasion? Is it about the event of coming together as a couple forever for the future? Yeah. I love that. Speaking of intention, I love this motion that you're going into with social media, and now you're going to do this new podcast, and it's going to be video too, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Intentional going forward. I'm thinking, and then also with Smiles Bright. Which one would you want to talk about more? I guess we touched on the new show coming out.
I think Bright Smile has really been like my passion, and I'm like, for me, at the end of the day, is like, I want to give practitioners their time back. And the reality is like, I have the knowledge to be able to like see a strategy and like also like call out people's potential. Like, that's part of like being a visionary, and that's part of, you know, like sometimes other people can see in us what we don't see in ourselves. For me, it's like when I talk to people like, yeah, but I want to go viral, and like, look at this, like this got so many views. I'm like, yeah, but like views don't mean anything. Like our Bright Smile page has a couple hundred followers, but we have clients all over the nation. Like, you know, it's scaled to like a $500,000 valuation in less than 6 months because of the intention behind it. And numbers don't mean anything. And like for me, it's like you need to have an intentional goal. Like, who is your market? Like, what do you actually want to do? Like, don't just be like, I want to create content and look really hot and like have a viral video, because it doesn't do anything. Like you need to have an actual like goal in mind. And I think like really for me, like that's been the most exciting part of Bright Smile, is like having these conversations with people, and their eyes light up and they're like, oh, you're right. Like, yeah, I did have that viral video and it didn't convert to anything. Like, you know, figuring out like, where is this going?
Yeah, some of the clients you were working with, that's definitely been coming up, right? Everyone wants to go viral, and what have you noticed kind of like to switch their intention, if you will? People want to get viral, get followers, get a bunch of views and likes. What would you recommend to that next client that you're about to have? Like, actually, you should be focusing on this. It's more long-term. Like, how would you kind of phrase that, you know?
I would say it's really simple, and it's something that we've talked about, like how, like the question earlier, like how do you, what separates a successful practitioner to somebody who's in burnout? It's vision. It's a long-term vision. And again, it's like we all have different goals. Like, some of us, you know, we would want to be mothers or fathers, and some of us like want to own multiple practices. And I think like once you have a vision, like everything else like points to that, and you don't get burnt out as quickly because you're actually working towards like action. Like, you have an actionable goal. And most of us just like, okay, I want to get through dental school. Okay, I did that. Okay, now I'm associate. I need to get a really good job. Like, you just like go, and you never like actually stop and like actually like be like, okay, like what is my overarching vision and goal and mission statement and vision statement for my life, and how is this going to reflect it? And then once you have that, you need to get out of your own way. We are such perfectionists. Like, our work is like judged to millimeters, like literally to millimeters. And like we can't like take that same outlook to our social media. Again, it's like with TikTok, like it's just if you have the content, don't overthink it, just get it out there, and you're gonna find your people, and it's gonna be working towards something bigger.
You went into burnout there, and that was one of the questions you asked me on the initial recording. You answered that perfectly. I got a question for you about burnout. Did you ever experience or feel any burnout through schooling, through transitioning from Australia to the US, all these different states you were in, or maybe just, that's the first question. Part two is, did you ever see burnout kind of coming up a little bit at your father's practice?
So I never experienced burnout in dentistry. I think I graduated when I was like 20. I was like young and on fire, and I was like, and I loved what I did. Like I genuinely loved it with like every fiber of my being. Falling into social media was like an accident, and it was never meant to be full time. So for me, it was just, I was like, oh, this is a fun thing. I'll just lean into it, and then I'll go back to Australia and get back into dentistry. But obviously that didn't happen. And I hit burnout really hard 2 years ago in 2023. And it didn't make sense because I was making more money than I ever had. I had like everything on paper that you could ever want. Like I had the apartment, like all these incredible opportunities, thriving businesses, and I was just not fulfilled. And I think, again, it was like I lost sight of my vision, right? Like I'd always had this goal. My goal was I want to own dental practices all over Australia. I had gone in, when I graduated, I'd studied business and accounting because I was like, I want to have the back-end business knowledge to actually facilitate being ownership and, knowing how to do this successfully, right?
Yeah.
But then in social media, I was like having all these viral videos, all this money. I'm like, I don't want to be, walking on a treadmill and I don't want to have to do that all the time, but like what's next? So I would say like burnout is a sign that like something is not aligned, and it's probably because you've lost vision or lost a goal of like what's actually next. You're not working towards something. So I was really lucky in that I had a bit of a cushion. I could like slow down and I could stop and not have to like push myself the way a lot of people need to, especially with all these like student loans and things like that. That was a big blessing. And that allowed me to actually be like, what do I actually want to do? And that was kind of where Bright Smile was born.
I love that. And that's where you're saying, so it's like over the last 2 years, you kind of transitioned back into dentistry big time.
Yeah.
And you mentioned church before. You met your husband at church, right? Did that have a play in it at all?
It had a huge play because it's like, here's the thing, is like, it's literally, it's the background on my phone. It says the Bible verse, it says like, write down the revelation and make it plain so that whoever hears it may run with it. That's like literally saying like, write down your goals, right? It's saying that. And then it says this, it says, for the revelation awaits an appointed time, and it speaks to the end and it will not prove false. So basically it's saying, it's like, you need to like get on, this is like from the Bible, it's saying like, get your goals written down, like write down your vision, right? Because it's like, if we don't have a vision, we get swayed by anything, and we fall for anything. And I think that I had never been, my whole life I was like raised in a Christian household. I had never taken it serious until I got in the car crash and I broke my neck in 2 spots, C5 and C6. And the doctors, I remember being in the hospital, they told me, they're like, this is a medical miracle. You should not be walking. This is like insane. You should literally be paralyzed. And I think that was the first time that I was like, oh, okay, like, wow, like this is a miracle, And I think that was the first time in my life, like I ever started to take God seriously. And even have that type of relationship with my own. I always thought it was about like rules. I always thought it was about just like, like someone's overseeing you and you have to like act perfect. But like kind of what I discovered, like especially when I moved to Miami, I had ended a very long-term relationship. I was heartbroken. I didn't have a vision for where my future was going. And I realized like, wow, like the world sells us money. The world sells us fame. The world sells us like all these physical things. And to be like in the most humble way, I had pretty much all of those things. Like on paper, like everything was like incredible, but like I felt like constant anxiety. I had no vision, and I realized like, wow, actually like those things don't fill the hole. So like, what is it? So then I kind of like started going to church, and I realized like, oh, like the version of God that I saw, which was like this like judgmental guy in the sky, is like, it's different. Like he actually wants a relationship, and he actually has a plan and a purpose. And it says that he knew us before we even formed in our mother's womb. Like he has a plan. And do you know how much less scary it is to lean into something when you feel a peace on it? And that peace it's not given to you by material things. It's given to you by God.
Right. How do you translate this into Bright Smile? Because you're giving a service, you're also helping mentor, educate, and kind of change that frame of mentality of what a lot of dentists, they're coming to, I want like someone to use someone. Have you brought any of that into the work that you're doing to give back, get back in the dental space where your passion has been from the start in the beginning with your father going back? Tell me about that a little more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so
How can dentists find that calling, that vision, that goal?
well, I'll touch on the business first. Like for our
Sure.
business, so I actually, whenever I had this idea and I was wanting to build something, I was like, at the time, I was like, oh, I just want to make like maybe, for me, it was kind of about the money in a way. I realized I loved it, and I was like, oh, I could make money doing this. Like this is like, I have something really to offer here, and I've done it before, and let me do it again. It was just going to be me and my assistant that built this company, and then I realized like, no, like, if you have a vision and it's like, a God-given dream, like we need to dream bigger. So I ended up bringing on 2 business partners, and they're both incredible at what they do. So that's kind of where it started. And they're also both Christians. And for me, it's like we share the same value set. Like we offer like the way we function is integrity. And like we start every one of our meetings in prayer, and we just like lift it up and we surrender it. And we're like, all right, God, this is your business. Like you build, like we obey. So like the way that we treat every single client, like we pray for them whether they know it or not. We're not going to freak them out, but just like we like, it's true. Like there's power in prayer. Like, if there is power in words, if the words that I speak to you can affect you, like imagine the power of prayer. So it's like that's how we facilitate our business, and how and it's crazy. Like we have a client she's in Los Angeles, very well known cosmetic dentist, and it's crazy. Like when we talk to her, she's like, oh, like let's end this in prayer, because she knows where we stand and she knows our values. Being really like cool to be transparent in that. Not to say like we only work with Christian people, because that's not the case at all. But it's just the way that we function and that's our value set. And the way that we translate vision is hope. It's hope. Huh. We speak hope over people. We call out the best in them. We dream with them. There's a verse in the Bible that says, God can do more than we ask, think, or imagine. So our prayer is like, God, increase our imagination. Because if he can do more than we ask, think, or imagine, let us dream bigger. So like we dream with our clients. We're not just like trying to build their profile. We're trying to build a vision that actually gives them hope. And they're like, okay, this is what is like fueling me. Like this is really what I'm working towards. You're right. Like I don't just want a viral video. Like I want to like create an audience in education, so that then eventually I can release a course. So then I can go from practicing 5 days to 3 days, so I can spend more time with my kids. Like this is what we're trying to instill.
You have to do that. You have to, and that comes back to the whole burnout situation. Is if you don't find that vision and goal, at least you have that person had the self-awareness, right? Turning it down for 5 to 3 days, have some more time to spend with family. That's so important. So in addition, the vision, hope, and also the self-awareness, I would say too, to know like where are we going, right? How do we design that vision? Excellent. Yeah. Wow. I don't want to keep you all day.
No, I think at the end of the day, it goes back to just like, it's like sometimes things are that simple. The same way as it is with the wedding is the same way as it is in business, as the same way it is in our life. Like you have to realize like what actually matters, like where do I want to go, and like what do I like, what's my legacy, like what there's at the end of the day, fulfilling like what you're called to do, like whether you've got $10 in the bank, 10 followers, or 100,000 or 100 million. Like at the end of the day, it's like I've been surrounded by people with both. Let me tell you, sometimes it's not the people with the big following and the big bank accounts that are the most fulfilled. It's the people that actually have the clarity to figure out what they're called to do.
Let me end on one last question then. What do you want your legacy to be?
I think I want to be known as somebody who wasn't scared to call out the best in others, but then also shift what I'm doing as well. So I think, and that's sometimes easier said than done. My dad said this quote, I love it, it's always stuck with me. And he said this, he said, if you don't like the path you're on, get off of it. And I think sometimes it's so simple and blunt, but like sometimes it's just like, well, I went to school and did this for all these years, like this is the way I have to do it. And it's like, well, actually no, like we're in a generation where you can make money online, where you can do things differently and you can step into like different paradigms, and like just because something makes sense on paper doesn't mean that it's for you. Not every door is for you. And sometimes like it's the things that don't make sense that open up the other doors. And I just think having the boldness to walk through it and being like, we have responsibility. We don't have to wake up every day being like, I don't want to wake up and I don't want to go to this job. My boss is a jerk. Like we really do have the autonomy to do it, but it's going to take boldness. So I think, with my story, I just hope that other people see that boldness and they're like, yeah, if that little girl from this very small beach town in Australia, she's not using her degree in orofacial myology or oral health therapy, she's built multiple six and seven figure businesses, like I think I can do it too, because I promise you, like you're probably more educated and you're probably smarter than me. The thing I have is like the joy of the Lord and boldness. That's it.
And don't have fear. Yeah, don't be scared. I love that message. Thank you for that. I have some questions to ask you another time, because I want to ask you about like social media and then relating it to the day to day.
Yeah.
How relating to how you started out and what direction you were going. But for another time, maybe a part 2 podcast if we have time in the future. But to end this one, would you be so kind to end us in a prayer?
Oh, that would be awesome. God, thank you for this day. Thank you even for this time to just just speak and just to be honest and to be bold. And God, right now I just lift up to anyone listening to this podcast, anyone under the sound of my voice. God, I just pray that just reveal yourself to them in new and fresh ways. God, I just pray that whether they're working or their home lives or their businesses or their dreams, God, just let your dreams become their dreams. Let them dream bigger. Let them just be filled with a peace that doesn't make sense. God, I just pray against any fear that is coming against them. I just pray for just wisdom in their next steps, wisdom in just stepping it into what it is that you've called them to. And God, I just thank you that you are faithful and that you are one who does care, and you're not just a big angry God in heaven, but you really do care about each and every one of us. So God, I just thank you for the talents that you've given us in dentistry and in business and otherwise. And God, I just pray that we steward them well. I just pray that you give these people, God, just new visions, just new ideas, new hope. God, let these ideas be bigger than even what they would consider. Let them be so big, God, that it's just clear that they're from you. And I just even pray for the courage to then walk through these doors. I just thank you that you do have a plan, and that we can't fail, that you go ahead, you go beside, you walk with us, and we are just never alone. So God, I just pray that people just encounter you in a new way, in a fresh way, in just different ways than we've ever experienced. So we thank you, and we love you and we praise you. Amen.
Thank you.
I want to pray for you too, but I just didn't want to do it on the podcast.
Do what?
And I want to pray for your marriage too.
Oh, thank you. Oh, did you hit end?
No, I didn't. But I'll do it.
Keep it.